11 seconds. That is how long it took for Kash Patel to say the 5 words that destroyed his credibility, ended his defense, and proved everything Senator John Kennedy had been accusing him of for the past hour. I don't know where they went. Not a complex legal argument. Not a detailed explanation about chain of custody protocols or evidence transfer procedures. Just 5 words that admitted the person responsible for safeguarding the most sensitive files in modern American history has absolutely no idea where those files are or what happened to them. Watch what happens when Kennedy asks Patel one final direct question. Where are the Epstein files right now? Watch Patel's face as he realizes he has run out of excuses, deflections, and explanations. Watch him open his mouth, pause for 3 full seconds, and then say the only thing he can say when caught, "I don't know." And watch Kennedy's response, immediate and surgical, as he explains to Patel and everyone watching that "I don't know" is not a defense. It is a confession, and ignorance about missing evidence when you are the one who made it disappear is actually proof of guilt. You need to see this moment from the beginning because what happened in those 11 seconds is the distillation of everything wrong with how power protects itself in Washington. If you are new here, subscribe right now because what you're about to see is the exact moment Kash Patel went from witness to suspect, and Senator Kennedy made sure it happened on camera, under oath, with no way to take it back. Let me set the scene for you. Senate Judiciary Committee, Hart Building Room 216, 47 minutes into Kennedy's interrogation of Patel about missing Epstein files. Patel had already tried 4 different explanations for why 437 boxes of evidence vanished from DOJ custody. He claimed they were relocated. Kennedy proved there were no transfer records. He claimed they were digitized. Kennedy showed that the digital archive was never created. He claimed disposal contractors handled routine duplicates. Kennedy read emails proving Patel personally ordered destruction with minimal documentation. And now, after 47 minutes of watching every excuse collapse, Kennedy was about to ask the question that would end the entire charade. Patel sat at the witness table looking exhausted, his tie loosened slightly, his prepared testimony binder closed and pushed to the side because nothing in it was helping anymore. His 2 attorneys sat behind him, both scribbling notes, but neither able to do anything except watch their client destroy himself with his own words. Kennedy sat across from him with the accordion folder still open, documents spread across the table, reading glasses perched on his nose, and that expression he gets when he knows he has a witness cornered and is about to prove it. The room was silent except for the sound of cameras and the scratch of reporters' pens. Kennedy looked down at his notes for a long moment. Then he looked up at Patel. "Mr. Patel, I have one more question." Patel nodded slowly. "Yes, Senator." Kennedy's voice was calm, almost gentle, the tone of someone who already knows the answer and is just giving the witness a chance to tell the truth. "Where are the Epstein files right now?" Patel stared at him. "I do not have current knowledge of their location." "That is not what I asked. I asked where they are. I cannot confirm their current location without consulting current DOJ records. You were the person responsible for them. You ordered their transfer. You signed the documentation. Where did you send them?" Patel looked at his attorneys. Both of them stared back without expression. He turned back to Kennedy. "Senator, as I have explained, the transfer was handled by facilities personnel after my initial directive." "I understand that. But you gave the directive. You told them where to send the files. So I am asking you, where did you tell them to send the files?" Patel's hands were gripping the table edge now. "I directed them to relocate the materials to secure off-site storage." "Where?" "I do not recall the specific facility name." "But you remember ordering the transfer?" "Yes." "So you remember deciding to move 437 boxes of critical evidence, but you do not remember where you decided to move them to?" Patel did not answer. Kennedy leaned forward. "Mr. Patel, this is a simple question. Where are the files?" And then it happened. Patel took a breath. His shoulders dropped slightly, and he said it. "I don't know where they went. If you have made it this far and this matters to you, subscribe now and hit the bell, because what comes next is Kennedy making sure that admission is repeated, clarified, and locked into the record so Patel can never take it back." The room erupted. Journalists started typing frantically. Cameras pushed closer. The chairman reached for his gavel, but Kennedy held up one hand and the chairman waited. Kennedy's voice cut through the noise. "Say that again." Patel looked up. "I said I do not know where the files currently are." "No, you said you do not know where they went. That is different. You are not saying you do not know their current location. You are saying you do not know where they went when you ordered them transferred. Is that correct?" Patel's voice was barely audible. "I do not know the final destination of the materials after they left DoD custody." "But you ordered the transfer." "Yes." "You decided they should be moved." "Yes." "You signed the authorization." "Yes." "But you do not know where they went?" Patel shook his head slowly. "I relied on facilities staff to select an appropriate secure location." Kennedy sat back. "So, let me make sure I understand. You decided that 437 boxes of evidence in the most high-profile investigation in American history should be moved. You ordered that move, you signed the paperwork, but you did not bother to ask where they were being moved to?" Patel did not answer. "Mr. Patel, I asked you a question. Did you ask where the files were being moved to?" "I do not recall asking for that specific information." "You do not recall. So you might have asked, but you do not remember the answer? Or you definitely did not ask?" Patel looked at his attorneys again. One of them shook his head. Patel turned back. "I do not believe I asked for the specific destination." "Why not?" "Because I trusted the facility's personnel to handle it appropriately." "You trusted them with evidence that could destroy dozens of powerful people's lives. You just trusted someone else to put it somewhere, and you never asked where." "That was a mistake." Kennedy's voice rose. "A mistake? Mr. Patel, that is not a mistake. That is deliberate ignorance. You made sure you did not know where the files went so that when someone like me asked you this question, you could sit here and say, 'I don't know.' Drop a comment right now if you think Patel genuinely doesn't know or if he's lying, because Kennedy is about to prove it doesn't matter either way." Patel's voice shook. "Senator, I am telling you the truth. I do not know where those files are." "I believe you. That is exactly the problem. You are the person who ordered them moved, and you have no idea where they went. That means either you are incompetent or you are lying. Which is it?" "I am neither incompetent nor lying." "Then explain how the person responsible for evidence has no idea where that evidence is." "I made a decision based on incomplete information and delegated execution to people I trusted." "And when those people made the evidence disappear, what did you do?" "I was not aware the evidence had disappeared until much later." "How much later?" "Several months." "Several months. So for several months, the most important evidence in modern American history was missing and you did not know?" "I was not monitoring day-to-day evidence storage." "You were the chief of staff. Monitoring evidence was literally your job." "I had many responsibilities." "Name one more important than safeguarding evidence against the most powerful pedophile in history." Patel did not answer. A senator from Ohio jumped in. "Mr. Patel, when did you first learn the files were missing?" Patel turned toward her. "I believe it was approximately 6 months after the transfer." "Who told you?" "I received a memo from DOJ requesting return of materials for a court proceeding." "And what did you do when you learned they were missing?" "I asked facilities personnel to locate them." "And what did they tell you?" Patel's voice dropped. "They told me they could not locate them." "Did you report this to anyone?" "I reported it to my supervisor." "Who was your supervisor?" "The acting Secretary of Defense." "And what did he do?" "I do not know." "You reported that 437 boxes of Epstein evidence were missing, and you do not know what your boss did about it?" I was not informed of any actions taken. The senator looked incredulous. You reported missing evidence and never followed up? I assumed it was being handled. Kennedy jumped back in. You assumed, just like you assumed facility staff would tell you where the files went, just like you assumed they would document the transfer. You assume a lot for someone whose job was to ensure things, not assume them. Subscribe now, because what happens in the next 2 minutes is Kennedy connecting Patel's admission to a pattern of deliberate ignorance that proves intent. Kennedy pulled another document. Mr. Patel, let me read you something. This is from the Federal Records Act. Quote, any person who willfully conceals, removes, mutilates, obliterates, falsifies, or destroys any record filed or deposited with a federal agency shall be fined or imprisoned. Do you know what the key word is in that statute? Patel stared at the document. Willfully? Willfully. It does not say knowingly. It says willfully, which means if you deliberately made sure you did not know what happened to the files, that is still willful. Do you understand that? I did not deliberately avoid knowledge. You just testified that you did not ask where the files were going, did not ask for documentation of the transfer, and did not follow up when they went missing for 6 months. That is the definition of deliberate avoidance. I trusted my team. Trust is not a legal defense when evidence disappears, especially when you are the one who ordered it moved. Kennedy flipped to another page. Let me ask you something else. During the 6 months when the files were missing and you did not know it, did you receive any communication from anyone asking about those files? Patel hesitated. I may have. May have? Did you or did you not receive requests for information about the Epstein files during that period? I received some inquiries. From whom? From DOJ attorneys working on related matters. And what did you tell them? I told them the materials were in secure storage, but you did not know where they were. I knew they had been transferred to secure storage, but you did not know which secure storage. Correct. So you lied to DOJ attorneys. I did not lie. I gave them the information I had. The information you had was wrong, and you knew it was wrong because you had deliberately not asked for correct information. Patel's voice cracked. I did not deliberately mislead anyone. Then what would you call telling DOJ attorneys that files are secure when you have no idea where they are? I call it an error based on incomplete information, an error that lasted 6 months, an error that prevented DOJ from complying with a court order, an error that resulted in the destruction of irreplaceable evidence. That is not an error, Mr. Patel. That is obstruction. The chairman banged his gavel. Senator Kennedy, the witness has admitted he does not know where the files are. Do you have additional questions? Kennedy looked at the chairman. Just one more. He turned back to Patel. Mr. Patel, if you do not know where the files went, how can you be certain they were not deliberately destroyed to prevent their unsealing? Patel stared at the table. I cannot be certain. So it is possible they were deliberately destroyed. It is possible. And you would have no way of knowing because you deliberately did not ask where they went? Patel nodded slowly. That is correct. No further questions. Kennedy closed his folder. The room stayed silent for almost 10 seconds. Then Patel's attorney spoke. Mr. Chairman, my client has been extremely forthcoming. He has admitted mistakes, but he has also made clear that he acted in good faith throughout. Kennedy spoke without standing. Good faith would have involved asking where 437 boxes of evidence were being sent. Good faith would have involved documenting the transfer. Good faith would have involved following up when they went missing. Your client did none of those things. That is not good faith. That is willful blindness. The attorney tried again. Senator, willful blindness requires proof of intent to avoid knowledge. Your client just testified that he did not ask where the files went, did not ask for documentation, and did not follow up for 6 months. What more proof of intent do you need?" The attorney sat down. The chairman thanked Patel for his testimony and dismissed him. Patel stood slowly, gathered his papers, and walked out of the room without making eye contact with anyone. Kennedy remained seated. A reporter shouted a question. "Senator Kennedy, do you believe Patel should face criminal charges?" Kennedy looked at the camera. "I believe anyone who makes evidence disappear and then says, 'I don't know where it went,' should be investigated by a grand jury. Whether that results in charges is up to prosecutors, but the evidence of willful blindness is overwhelming." Another reporter asked if Kennedy believed Patel was telling the truth about not knowing. Kennedy's response was immediate. "I believe he is telling the truth about not knowing. I also believe he made sure he did not know, so he could say exactly what he said today. That is not ignorance, that is strategy, and it is criminal." Within 2 hours, Kennedy's office released a statement calling for appointment of a special counsel to investigate the missing files. Within 4 hours, 3 former DOJ officials contacted Kennedy's office offering to testify about pressure they received to not pursue the missing evidence. Within 24 hours, the hashtag Where Are the Files was trending with over 2 million mentions. And within 48 hours, DOJ Inspector General announced a formal investigation into evidence handling procedures at DOD during Patel's tenure. Patel has not commented beyond his testimony. His attorney released a statement saying Patel looks forward to cooperating with any investigation and is confident he will be exonerated. Kennedy responded with one sentence. "If he is exonerated, he can tell us where the files are."